Chapter 1 Isra. The city is beautiful tonight. I can tell by the smells drifting through Needle's open window. The last of the autumn flowers clinging to their stalks, their perfume crisper and cleaner than the summer blossoms that came before. Fruit sweet and heavy on the trees, and above it all, the heady fragrance of the roses blooming in the royal garden. I will be out among it all soon. The tower holds me by day, but by night I am a wanderer, a good fellow of the moons. The yellow moon, the blue moon, even the red moon when its beams cut angrily through the dome, when the monstrous light of their funeral fires in the desert. I call the moons by secret names. They call me Isra. I am not their princess, or their mistress, or their daughter, or their prisoner. I am Isra of the wild hair and quick feet, clever in the darkness. I am Isra of the shadows, my secret made meaningless by the moonlight. I am ready to see my moons, to see everything. It's been 4 endless nights since I visited the roses. The Monstrous draw closer to Yuan than ever before. There are city soldiers everywhere, prowling the wall walks, fortifying the gates, testing for weaknesses in the dome, padding the trails from the city center to the flower gardens, to the orchards, to the fields, and back again in their soft boots. They would never survive in the desert outside. Their boots are glorified house slippers, their feet soft and vulnerable beneath. I'm certain I have more calluses on my feet than any of Baba's soldiers, rough spots on my toes and heels that catch and hold on stone. I can practically feel the stone of the balcony's ledge digging into my skin now, grounding me as I hover in the hungry air at the edge of the world. My toes itch, my tongue taps behind my teeth, my skin sweats beneath my heavy blanket. Just a few more minutes. Surely Needle will put out her light soon. My maid insists that it's impossible to smell wax melting from across the room, but I can smell it, and it keeps me awake, even when I'm not biding my time, waiting for the chance to escape. An untended flame is dangerous, and this tower has burned before. I dream about that fire almost every night, flames blooming like a terrible flower, devouring the curtains and the bed, licking at my nightgown, Baba's strong hands throwing me to the ground, and my head striking the stones before the world goes black. And finally, the door splintering, and my mother's cries as she hurls herself from the tower balcony. That night is my clearest memory from the time before, one of my only memories. I don't remember my mother's face, or the color of Baba's eyes. I don't remember romps in the garden or holiday dinners at court, though Baba swears we had them. I don't even remember the sight of my own face. My mother forbade mirrors in the tower. After her death, I had no need of them. My eyes never recovered from that night. Baba saved me from the flames. For a day or two, the healers thought they might. I saw flashes of light and color in the darkness, but within a week, it was obvious that my sight was gone forever. I've been blinded since I was 4 years old, the year my mama joined the long line of dead queens. Terribly unfair, I've heard people whisper when they don't realize the figure in the garden with the cloak pulled over her head isn't another noble out for a walk. That the princess should lose her mama and her eyes all at once. I want to tell them that my eyes are not lost. See, here they are, still in my head. But I don't say a word. I can't reveal myself. No one knows what the Princess of Yuan looks like these days. I haven't been knowingly allowed out of the tower since my 10th birthday. If the Monstrous breach the walls, Father is certain I'll be safe here until the mutants are destroyed. There is only one door leading into the tower, and Baba and his chief advisor, Junji, are the only ones who know where the key is hidden. They have no idea that I don't need a key or a door. I only need my sentry to put out her light and go to sleep. I muffle a frustrated sigh with my fist. She's probably sewing in bed again. Needle has sewn me a dress each month for the past year. This one is green, she told me. Lovely, I said, and rolled my eyes, as if I need another dress. I am drowning in dresses. I've begged her to stop, or at least make something for herself, but she won't listen. One would think that she is deaf as well as mute. If one did not know better, if one hadn't been caught sneaking out of one's bedroom a dozen times, betrayed by the squeaking of the bed frame, or the crack of an ankle bone. That's why I have to wait. I have to be sure. Another half hour ticks away with maddening slowness. I've decided Needle has indeed forgotten to put out her candle again, and am about to throw off the covers when I hear the schlap of the silver cap smothering the flame, and catch a whiff of smoke and the tail end of Needle's soft sigh as she curls beneath her blankets. Needle doesn't make many sounds, but of those she does, the sigh is the saddest. Sigh. I am suddenly ashamed of myself. Poor, tired Needle, the common girl without a voice, sworn to serve the princess without sight. When I am queen, I will give her a better job. Something far away from me and the burden of my misbehavior. When I am caught sneaking from the tower, and I will be caught no matter how careful I am, there are only so many precautions a blind girl can take. She will be the one who is punished. I know that, but I can't stop. I need the night. I need the feeling of my hair lifting from my shoulders as I run. There is no wind in Yuan. Wind is a fairy tale, a magical, invisible force that stirs the planet, assuring living things that the world still moves. Under our dome, the air is too still. It smothers, clutches, a hand tightening into a fist that will someday crush the city to pieces. It's been nearly a millennium since those outside the domes were mutated by the toxic New World. But the past 200 years have been the most devastating for the people that live in the cities. All but 3 of the original 15 settlements have fallen to the monsters in the desert. The messenger birds from the King of Sula and the Queen of Port South come less and less frequently. One day, they will stop altogether. Or perhaps our birds will be the first to have their freedom. Either way, Yuan is living on borrowed time, though probably not as borrowed as mine. I wait a few more moments until Needle's breaths come slow and evenly before slipping out of bed and eating up the thick carpet between my bedroom and the balcony with eager feet. 17 steps to the bedroom door, 27 down the hall, past the sitting room, through the music room, and out onto the balcony, then 3 more, and the careful fall to freedom. Carefully, so I don't follow in my mother's footsteps. Careful, so my escape is only for the night, not for forever. I brace my hands on the balcony ledge and push off the ground with bare toes, drawing my knees up to my chest, landing atop the parapet in an easy crouch. My fingertips brush the cold marble, my cotton overalls drawn up to my shins. The overalls are an orchid worker's suit, with wide legs and deep pockets. I stole them from a supply shed near the apple orchard 2 years ago. Now the legs grow too short. I am 17 and very tall for a person. Very, very tall. I am taller than Baba, taller than even Junji, whom I've heard be called an imposing man. I am long and tall, and my skin is coarser than any other I've touched. Even Needle's work-roughened hands are softer than mine. The The princess she bathes in cream, washes only with honey soap. My rough, peeling flesh was my greatest clue back when I was still sorting out the mystery of myself. Now I understand. I know the real reason I am locked away from my people. I may be tainted, but I am not a fool, I whisper into the too tranquil air. It gobbles up my words and swallows them deep, smug in its assurance that the quiet order of the dome will never be disturbed. Seconds later, I bare my teeth in my most ferocious smile and jump from the ledge. The night comes alive. Cool air snatches my hair, lifting it from my shoulders, tugging at my scalp. It rushes up my pant leg, shivering over my belly and up my neck. My blood races and my throat traps a giddy squeal. The tips of my toes beat with their own individual heartbeats as they make contact with the curved edge of the first roof and take a running leap for the second, deliciously alive with fear. I've made this descent 1,000 times or more, but still a taste of the original terror remains. The first time, my feet didn't know the dips and curves and footholds for themselves. The falls, the 6 curved roofs below the tower balcony, were only a story told by Baba as we sat in the afternoon sun. My fingers and toes are my eyes. I couldn't see the truth of my way out until I was already over the edge, dropping the 10 feet to the top of the first roof. But it was there, just as my father had said, as were the 2nd and the 4th and the 6th. As the last tumble into the cabbage, last tumble into the cabbage garden. I plopped down on the hard ground between the cabbage rows. No fertile patch of land is wasted in Yuan, and fold back into a crouch, staying low as I shuffle back and scatter the dirt with my hands, concealing the too deep prints from my landing. There is rarely anyone this close to my prison, but I don't set off right away. With all the guards milling about, Baba surely has patrols stationed near the tower. I wait, squirming my toes, ears straining in silence, broken only by the faint buzz of the hives at the bottom of the hill. The bees are quieter at night, but still busy. I like the hum, the evidence of non-human activity. We used to have wild birds under the dome, too, all different sorts, some night singers, some day, but the last of them died years ago. Father said it was an avian epidemic. Why didn't the messenger take the birds, then? I asked him at night, or the ducks and the geese by the orchid pond. Why did only the wild birds die? Wild things don't always survive under the dome, he said. There was something in his voice that day. It made me wonder if he knows that I'm not as biddable as I pretend to be, if he knows I'm wild and doesn't hate me for it. At least he doesn't blame me. It's not as if I asked to be born this way, with a taste for defiance and a longing for the hot desert wind, the wind I felt only once, the day my mother took me as for a forbidden walk outside the city walls. I never have that wind again. If I left the city for any length of time, I would die of thirst or sun poisoning if the Monstrous didn't get me first. But I can have my night runs. I can have the autumn smells, the satin of rose petals between my fingertips, and the sweeter sting of the rose's thorns. My mouth fills with a taste like honey and vinegar mixed together. The rose garden. How I love and loathe it. How I need it and hate the needing. But still, I go there first tonight. I want to see the color of the sky, know which of my moons hangs heaviest above the dome. I am efficient in my darkness, but how I crave the moonlight. It is hard to wait, but I don't move a muscle, don't twitch a nostril, even when my nose begins to itch in the way noses never fail to do when you're not able to scratch them. 2 minutes, 3, and finally my patience is rewarded with the soft, rhythmic scuffing of leather boots on stones. Scuff, 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 scuff. I am a soldier, this is my song, and I shall scuff it all day long. I am a soldier, and these are my boots, the biggest shoes for the biggest brutes. My lip curls. Soldiers. Ridiculous. Yuan needs a third as many, and those should be stationed at the desert gate and hill gate around the wall walks, where the rest of the city won't have to bear witness to their strutting about. Our only hope is to keep the mutants out. If they make it inside, the city will fall. If we've learned anything from the destruction of other doomed kingdoms, it should be that. The Monstrous are bigger, stronger, with poison seeping from their claws, and skin as thick and as hard as armor. They can see in the dark and live on nothing but a daily ration of water and cactus fruit. They are brutal beasts determined to destroy humanity and take our cities for themselves. But our bounty will never be theirs. If they kill the keepers of the covenant, Yuan will turn to dust like the other cities and the land beyond our walls. Magic is loyal to only those who have bought and paid for it. With blood. Hundreds of years of blood. Blood enough to fill the riverbed beneath the city and carry us all to the poison sea. As soon as the soldier scuffs away, I scurry between the rows of cabbages on tiptoes, leaving as little sign of my passing as possible. Counting the 18 steps to the road, the 4 steps across it, the 15 steps down the softly sloping hill, also planted with cabbage, oh, the cabbage I've eaten my whole life, and into the sunflower patch. My fingers brush their whiskery stalks, feeling the heavy flowers bob far, far above me. They are usually tall this year. No matter how high I reach, I find only more prickly stalks and leathery leaves. I am nearly 2 meters tall, and my reach is another half above. They must be 3 meters, maybe more. I bet their heads are bigger than the moon. Moon, moon, moon of mine, I sing softly as I skip 30 skips through the sunflower patch, up the rise to the city green where children play. 70 more steps. It is the widest green in the city, and the grass is still damp from the groundkeeper's hose, and I am in the orchards that surround the royal garden. Dried grass sticks to my wet feet, as I carefully tread on the last 50 steps that separate me from my destination. There are snakes in the orchards. They hide beneath the grass clippings, lurking in wait for the rodents that feed on the apples in the orchard workers miss. More than once I've felt a strong serpent's body brush my bare foot, heard a rustle and then a hiss as a viper slithered. Shh! I freeze, ears pricking. My ears are very large too. They hear more than average. Yes. Shh! A faint stirring in the grass to my right. But then nothing. Silence. After a long moment, I continue on my way. Luckily, I've yet to step on any hidden squirmy thing. Snakes do not strike unless they have no other choice. Given the opportunity to flee, they will, and so I force myself to move slowly, no matter how the rose perfume urges me to run. The smell is so strong I can taste it, like the filling of the rose honey candies Bubba brings me on the winter solstice. The sweets are terrible, bitter, and as enjoyable as sucking on a perfume bottle, but I eat them anyways. I save them up for treats on days when Bubba is too busy to visit me and Needle and I are alone, and the silence threatens to drive me mad. The rose candies never fail me. I slip one into my mouth to melt and taste freedom every time. I pull in a breath and hold the sticky air inside me as I step onto the paving stones. The path is still warm from the sun. The stone kisses the bottom of my feet, whispering soft things about how nice it is to see me again. I stretch and smile and run and run and run and run. It is safe for a blind girl to run here. The path goes in a perfect circle. The roses stay in their beds, except for a small spill of vines on one side that I've learned to avoid. And there is never anyone here at night. If I am of the mind to eavesdrop later this evening, I will have to continue further down the path. The royal garden is the most beautiful of Yuan's gardens, but also the most tragic. It is a place of death, and the living avoid it when they can. They say they feel watched here, as if the roses have eyes. They have no idea. The roses have more magic than anyone, even my father understands. I am the only one who knows their secret, who knows that they are more alive than any other flowers, and that they see and hear more than anything else in our world. I throw out my arms, running faster and faster until my heart beats in time with the slap of my feet. A layer of sweat coats my skin, and the giddy feeling inside swells so big that I have to leap and twirl to spin with my head, and I throw my head back, the wind I've created whipping my hair. I want to scream with delight. I want to howl like the dogs on hunt day. I want to announce to the world that I'm free, free, free. Instead, I leap onto the ledge of the central bed, where the oldest rose's roots dig deep into the earth, where vines as thick as human arms twine through ancient trestles, snapping the brittle wood, where flowers as big as melons bloom and thorns as long as fingers warn. Don't touch! Hands to yourself! Back, savage! I reach out the pad of my fingers, prickling. I never know where I'll find a thorn. The wind never blows in Yuan, and the roses seem to grow like any other flower, though larger and older and always blooming. But the vines move. They move. From one night to the next, a girl never knows when she might. Sss! I hiss as my finger finds a thorn. A sharp one that glances off my fingertip and slides beneath the nail, piercing the bed. I grit my teeth and fight the urge to snatch my hand back to my chest. We must be connected, the thorn and the flesh, for the magic to work. I hold perfectly still until the sharp pain becomes a mean little ache, until the blood flowing from my cut eases the hurt away with its warmth. I stay and I breathe, and I sigh as one by one my eyes open, all 100 of them.